Hello, lovely people. Is it ever worth fighting players way above my skill level? This is probably a question you'll find yourself asking at some point if you're new to playing Xrd, or any difficult or old fighting game in general. Especially when you're new to fighting games, everyone seems better than you are, so you're just kind of running headfirst into a brick wall. Without room to experiment and make mistakes, how will you organically learn how to play against other players? Common ideas like conditioning, baiting, and finding weird interactions will never happen if your opponent defines the experience for you. In their head, you're the training dummy. And do training dummies ever get to play the game? Heck no. This is obviously pretty discouraging, and I don't think you're going to get a lot of mileage out of trying to learn from these matches either. First, I'll explain why this trial by fire is a bad idea, then why it can be a problem if you want to play a game like Xrd, and what you can do about it. Recently, I found myself in a very frustrating situation for a new player when facing a good player, a Sol corner block string. Let me break this down really quickly for new players. Sol Bad Guy is an aggressive, well-rounded character who has a type of combo that deals a lot of damage if he's near the corner. The corner is already a very bad place to be in for any player because it means you cannot escape the opponent. Plus, your opponent gets to be at any range they want, whether full screen or smelling your breath. And I just explained why you don't want to be cuddling with Sol in the corner. Lastly, a block string is what happens when you are forced to block continuously. When in this situation, you are forced to take risks to get out of the pressure the opponent is applying. And when in the corner, those risks are much more limited. Additionally, Guilty Gear has a mechanic that punishes you for blocking. This whole situation was defined by my opponent. Their intimate knowledge of what attacks pushed me the farthest defined my experience in this session as just a guessing game with very high risk and low reward. So, when I got hit, as one inevitably does when playing against a much better player, you better believe half my life bar drained before my eyes. Okay, so the combo ended. Good, this is a reset point. I get a second chance, right? Right? Often, when ending a combo, players prioritize advantage over damage. Advantage is essentially just how much faster you're able to act compared to your opponent after an interaction. If you're able to use this advantage to start a whole new combo, you'll do way more damage. So, since Sol is able to act way faster than I am, and he is easily able to predict me, what do you think he's going to do? That's right, define my experience and shove me back in the locker where I belong. It's clear that experience was pretty unfun. Well, I must at least have learned something, right? Well, let's look at the whole match. Did I learn offense? Did I learn neutral? I guess I could have learned, as a new player, that for every option I throw out there's an answer. Except, I'm not going to learn which of my answers I can use to counter their options. Okay, but what about defense? Isn't that exactly what I've been doing this whole time? Well, for someone new like me, there are two choices you can make when blocking. Keep blocking or mash buttons. I wonder what kind of attacks the opponent is going to use on me if it's obvious I don't know how to play the game. Perhaps they'll do block strings that directly counter both of these options, once again defining my experience under their terms. In fact, I believe that fighting against a much better player won't just prevent you from getting better, it will actually teach you bad habits. Like I said, the opponent defines your defensive experience. You'll learn to either mash your fastest button like your life depends on it, or keep blocking until you get hit. There are so many more options than these two built into every fighting game, but you won't be able to experiment with them because even if you happen to use it, the opponent will be able to immediately punish you with a devastating combo, once again defining your experience to what is easiest for them to deal with. So yeah, after that, I felt pretty deflated. I felt that there was no way for me to improve if, like I just described, I'm fighting a brick wall. Well, what can you and I do about it? The most effective possibility is to play with a friend. And if your already established friends don't want to play, just type into Google, insert name of fighting game Discord server. 90% of these communities have dedicated chats and pings for beginner, intermediate, and expert players. Most of these people on the server are pretty helpful, as their favorite game just got another player's worth of lifespan. If you couldn't find any friends or no one is available to play right now, you can leave the lobby and go check out Replay Theater. Yes, settle down. I know this is way nerdier than dinking around with combos in training mode, But seriously, if you go into spectating your own match with the mindset of trying to figure out what actually happened, you will automatically find a point where you should have anti-aired, blocked low, or something that will be easy to remember in your next match. When that happens, stop and write it down. Writing it down will help you remember it for the next time you're in a similar situation. And writing a sentence or two for every replay won't hurt. If you have any questions or are confused, don't be afraid to read what the attack says in Deathloop or a similar wiki, and ask around in the Discord. Once you're done or you get bored, hop onto another lobby and try again. Hopefully there's someone new at your speed, or your ability has increased enough to make it enjoyable. Hopefully after this short explanation, you'll understand how you yourself can get better at Xrd or any other fighting game in a faster, less headbanging way. One thing I really like about Xrd's design is how excited it is to tell you about fighting games. One of the best indicators is these little warning signs whenever you standing block a low attack or crouching block a high attack. But right now, I want to focus on how Xrd communicates in its lobbies. Now that Strive has been released for a while, it is impossible to find a match with anyone on ranked. Why? Nobody plays on them, everybody plays on lobbies, and there's nearly always one open. Following Xrd's usual design decision to give players information, but let them decide what to do with it, there's a little ranking system in the lobbies that tries to gauge relative skill within it. Now, of course, no system is perfect, but this is kind of nice for trying to automatically find players around your skill level. The Xrd lobby system is quite pertinent to my game, as I don't expect an extremely active ranked scene, which means that a lot of very skilled players could go up against some new players due to the lack of players around both of their skill levels. Because Xrd already has a focus on lobbies due to the community, I can predict that the most effective way for people to get games from the get-go is likely to be lobbies, and design them accordingly. Adding minigames similar to Xrd's ball game and chat can provide several fun things to do when not fighting or when you need a breather. As far as a ranking system would go, I'd likely just give players 3 data points: games played, hours spent in gameplay, like fights, training, and replay, and win rate, where I would try to match these stats as closely as possible, because I don't believe that basing ranking on win rate alone makes a lot of sense. Alright, I need to go read the 50-page lore document my writer just sent me. Bye!